Hamza here again, and I'm here with the second episode of CEO Talks.
Right, my name is Adil, and by profession, I'm an accountant, and by occupation, I'm a businessman. So I've been trading in the field of fast food, so in particular, Peri Peri chicken.
So, how did you end up having the money to actually fund your first shop?
So it was a very rushed decision, like I said, we got our first business during COVID, like peak COVID, I would say.
You had your first shop, and what happened after that? So, how did you end up going for the second shop?
We did well in the first shop, so gradually, so COVID was near to the end, things were getting back to normal.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hamza here again, and I'm here with the second episode of CEO Talks. So I got a good friend of mine and a successful entrepreneur with myself, Mr. Adil, and I will let Adil do his introduction. So Adil, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right, my name is Adil, and by profession, I'm an accountant, and by occupation, I'm a businessman. So I'm in the field of
The best combination that you can get.
probably. So you don't need somebody to do your books; you can do it everything yourself.
Exactly.
And so I've been trading in the field of fast food, so in particular, Peri Peri chicken. So our brand is called Peri Peri Sizzlers. So me and my friend and brother Taha, we both started this back in 2020 during COVID.
Mhm.
And it's called Peri Peri Sizzlers, and it's been a good journey. So nearly 4 or 5 years now, and
So
still.
you said that you started this business during COVID. So I would like to ask more behind the behind the story and what you did before that. But let's start with this one. So how was the experience starting the business in COVID? Because I think that's really interesting for
Yeah.
to know.
So how I saw COVID is for some people, COVID turned out to be an opportunity, and for some people, it turned out to be a disaster. So for me, when I started this business and I got into this business, I did not really care if it was COVID. What I had in mind was a passion to do. I want to do something. So COVID was not something that would have stopped me from doing this business or getting into this business. So this was the main reason behind it. So COVID did not really bother me. But what did concern me that things wouldn't have been the same way I was expecting, but it turned out to be far better than my expectations because everybody was locked in their houses, and there was no major footfall inside the shop, or you would see people on the roads. But what we did see that we had the opportunity to deliver food to people's houses, and that's where we made something as an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that happening. So people couldn't go out and they were all they could do is pretty much order food from outside and having the same cooked food at home as well kind of gets boring. So that's really amazing to hear and good to see that COVID didn't destroy all of the opportunities that were out there for businesses. So let's go back a little bit in time and what was the first thing that you did and tell us a little bit about your history. So where you're coming from and what you
Right.
did.
I'm originally from Pakistan, Karachi. I was a accountancy student back home in Pakistan. I landed in this country 2013, September 6th September 2013. That was the day that changed my life. And ever since I've been in this country. And as a student, I've seen various challenges in this country. Let it be alone studying and doing part-time jobs, and you just name it. Any job that you would ask me, I would have done it during my studies, and it was a kind of a big challenge, as you can imagine. And for me, nothing stopped me from doing the hard work and trying to get where I wanted to be.
Why is that, do you think? Like, the one of the main questions that I think a lot of people ask me as well is, and I get to ask to a lot of people that sit on that seat as well, is why didn't that stop you? Like many other people at your place, yeah, I know quite a few, and I'm probably sure that and many people who are listening would know them as well. Why there's a difference between certain people that will end up working hard doing the 24-hour shift if they have to do and getting somewhere they want to be in, or they're getting somewhere where they deserve to be as well, compared to other people that have exactly the same opportunities but they end up not delivering on them, if that's the right word? Like, why do you think is that?
What I think is, when I left my country, I took a one-way ticket, right? So when I left Pakistan, there was nothing for me to return back, right? So I made up my mind that I had to, I started a new life once I left that country with a one-way ticket. And how I saw things was like nobody would come to rescue me. So I'm just a one-man army. So I have to do things how they need to be done. So regardless, if I put in something today, right, I won't have the rest of my life regretting that I did. If I wouldn't have done that thing at that point in time, then I would regret it for the rest of my life.
I see that drive is amazing. It's really good to hear about that. So you said that you were an accountancy student back in Karachi as well. So how come accountancy?
Um, Back home, it's something, you know, I would say like motivated by my parents and my elders as well. And and it, I was something, I did my, if I be honest with you, back home in Pakistan, I was an engineering student, and I
Ah,
personally didn't like maths or chemistry or physics. These were not my subjects. So I had to get some kind of an education at least. I wouldn't be like a dropout and rather would study nothing, but something that I would like really pursue in my future and something I would like enjoy to study and I would be okay to study other than these three subjects. So I think accountancy was the only one that I find okay. No, this is something I can do and I can
I see.
easily do.
I assume that was destiny more than anything.
Yeah,
So it
you
was
can say
destined
that.
to start that business, and he kind of we could call the destiny that he knew that you would need that skill to be where you are today with your businesses. So moving forward with that, so you landed in this country in 2013, you said,
Yep.
and you were a one army,
One
one
man
man
army.
army in the beginning. So what was the next steps that you took? So did you work in multiple places, or if you did?
Um, I started, like every traditional student, started working in a takeaway. So I would go attend my university in the morning. I'd probably leave home about six-ish, around 6 o'clock. Take a bus, train station. I landed in London, then I moved to Nottingham. I had my relatives here, so I stayed with them for a good few months. And yeah, so the routine was I usually get up early, six-ish. I took a bus to the train station to Birmingham. My university was a campus in Birmingham, so I had to travel about 4 days in a week. And yeah, coming back from university, I would go straight to work and finish for about the takeaway closed at around, I think, probably 1:30 at that time.
Wow.
So I got Nottingham train station back about six-ish, 6 o'clock, and took a bus again, direct to takeaway job, finish around 1:30, and
Wow, that's
back
some
to
crazy
sleep.
routine and dedication there.
Yeah.
So, wow, glad to that's crazy, amazing. So, what was the so you started there, so you finished your university. What did you do after your university? Did you landed a job and started a job, or you got straight into the business?
When I finished university, I started voluntarily working for a small accountancy practice, and I worked there for a good few months. And then I tried sending off loads of resumes to various places. And one thing which I came across at that time was I was overqualified in terms of my education with almost nil practical experience. And that was a major setback for me. But I never gave up on that. And I still just kept on trying. I would say that I never left any place not to apply. Let's say even I apply for McDonald's for a normal customer assistant role. I'll probably, put education aside. I might just fit into some role of a customer service assistant in a restaurant at least. But that didn't turn out to be in my favor, and I was rejected for that. So similarly, very big supermarkets, I tried working for them as well, but nobody accepted, and I just kept going and going and going, and finally landed a contract job at British Midland Regional. It used to be Fly BMI, a UK-based airline based in Castle Donington in Kegworth. So they got my CV and they called me. I still remember the day they called me and they said that we would like to interview you. It was my very first professional interview within the field that I studied for and that I'm really looking forward to work with. And I said, I was so desperate, like I literally can come in tomorrow if you want me to. And I landed up in the office the next morning. They took me to the sea literally, and no formal interview. They just wanted to how it can actually work, and it was really interesting to know that they did not ask me any kind of formal question. They did go around what I've studied and what things I can actually do, and they just made me sit at the desk and gave me a bunch of invoices to enter into the system, and yeah, that was it. And I think initially they got me in for 2-3 days, and that's what I started working. So yeah, that
Oh,
was my very
amazing.
first role.
So that was your first job. So where did you go from there? How come you ended up from somebody who was looking to build a career in accountancy to somebody who is running a very successful business?
Um, it did not actually jump straight away. So I'm talking back in 2018. So 2018. So it took me 3 years to get into the business. So the business that I'm currently in, it was something that I had a passion for food, basically. And moreover, you can say during my time at the uni and the jobs that I've been doing along with my studies, I used to work in this restaurant called Roosters Peri Peri. And the one thing which I found out, their food was brilliant. Okay, no, not in the case that they used to do the traditional unhealthy food, and what they did was, proper grilled chicken, which I'm a really fan of, especially. And I was like thinking, one day, if I had the resources to step into this field, I would definitely pursue this as a business, and I would look into, establish my own brand as well.
Where did you get the resources? Everybody asks that question to anybody who's running a business, and I think it's really interesting to know because everybody has a personal story behind it. So how did you end up having the money to actually fund your first shop?
Um, yeah, so it was a very rushed decision, like I said, we got our first business during COVID, like peak COVID, I would say. And it was 2020, and obviously I've been in different jobs. You have a bit of savings with yourself. You when you work, you have. And as a matter of fact, I used to do Uber as well. I forgot to mention. So I've done all sorts of things. I used to do a full-time job, and on the weekends, I used to do a good few hours in the Uber just to have that side money with me. And when the time came, so a good friend of mine, my brother, we're from same Karachi, Pakistan. We both were accountant, in fact. So we discussed this idea, like we want to get into business, and he was living in London, and we were like, we need to start up a business, and we were not like after quick money. So some people have that kind of a mindset, they just want quick money. So I'm not personally a fan of quick money. There is no such thing as quick money. There might be for somebody, but not for me. And we decided, like we want to have a business, and then that's where I started looking for business that were on sale within Nottingham. Let it could be any business. So in particular, we're looking for after food business, but that's something we had good hands on all around, and especially when I said, like the peri peri uh, chicken business and the grill field business. That's what I would say we have the expertise on. And yeah, so we just sat down. We found a business. We contacted that person. We had some good acquaintances within Nottingham. Reached out to them. They knew that person as well. Ended up with the deal. We had some money savings. Any shortfalls. Call this friend of mine. Call this friend of mine. Gather that sort of money. And I think that is the point when you actually call somebody and ask for money to start a business. I think they are the real person who would actually see you grow and see you succeed. Okay, because not everyone you would go and tell, I want to buy a business. Can you lend me money? And it takes really it really takes some nerve for somebody to lend you money when they hear you that you're starting your own business. And I think uh, you owe those person for your lifetime. And I
Yeah,
certainly have those people which I will never forget, who really helped me during that decision of my life.
yeah. I think you also need nerves to actually ask for it as well, because it's a kind of an awkward conversation, as well as it's very hard for a person to go out of their way to ask another individual that they know for could that be a friend, could that be a family, or whatever, or somebody that they met, here and there. But yeah, so credit to you. That goes, hats off for that. So you actually managed to pull that off. So you had your first shop, and what happened after that? So how did you end up going for the second shop?
So basically, what we did was we did well in the first shop. So gradually, so COVID was near to the end. Things were getting back to normal. So we decided like we can't just stay in one place. We need to grow, right? And that's where we decided to move on and expand business and see align minds with somebody else who would come along with us and step into this field of business, and that's how it took off.
Amazing. So from one shop, you guys ended up having how many branches now?
So including the Peri Peri Sizzlers itself, we have around one.
I love it how you have to count
Yeah,
it.
no, yeah, it's about five locations
It's about
within
five.
within Nottingham, and then we got a location in London, Egham, which obviously is managed by is owned by somebody else, but obviously they using the brand Peri Peri
Yeah.
Sizzlers.
Amazing. So you went down the route of franchising. That's really inspiring. So, you know, now that we roughly know you a little bit, let me ask you a few of the things that I would like to, know a bit more about yourself. Let's just say that. So, what would be one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who is coming here as a student? Because obviously there's quite a lot of students coming, especially to Nottingham. What would be the advice that you would give them based on the life experience that you had? That what is something that they should stay away from, and what is something they should always do, or there's something that they should focus on? What would be that?
One thing I would suggest anybody who's coming, I mean, anybody who's traveling to any country to study, regardless if he's coming to the UK or anywhere, I mean, he or she should stay focused. One thing foremost, I mean, they should stay focused and, don't rush for things. Everything is uh, set for a certain time. You can't really, snap your fingers and see, like one day I'm sitting here, the next day I'm going to sitting in a mansion, or one day you're sitting in a smaller car, the next day you're going to sit in a Ferrari. It doesn't work out like that. So there is a time set for everything. You just have to go with the flow. Stay consistent, and just don't give up. You will get there. It's going to take time. If you look at everybody who is successful in these days, not in just terms of money, let it could be in any field, if they've made certain names, it's not like they've done it overnight. It took them half of their life to get there where they are today. So the lesson what you learn from looking at these people, you have to stay consistent. You would fall, you will fall again, you will keep falling, and you can keep falling. The time will come, you will be there standing, and you will stand there for the rest of your life, and nobody can make you fall down.
Yeah. How do you know that you are, going into the right direction, for example, or you are actually putting into the efforts into where you want to be in the future? How do you know that? How does a person get to know that?
I think
Like,
it totally depends on the mindset. You set certain objectives in your life. Like let's say if somebody's apart from business, like let's say if somebody is studying for a degree, in any of the fields. For instance, if somebody's studying engineering, chemistry, whatsoever, and if he has a scope in mind that end of the day, he is put like I want to be in a certain industry. Let's say if he wants to be in the field of oil and gas, and he set a certain objective. I'm going to start from here, I'm going to end up there, and then this is my end goal in life. So you are working from that point until that time. So I think you have to stay consistent in what you have chosen to do, and as long as you're working in the right direction, you will see those results coming in your life.
I see. Okay, makes sense. So what you are saying is you kind of just know there's no such way to actually identify and know that you're going into the right direction. It's just a feeling that you get inside yourself that you are heading there, and you just need to stay consistent to see results.
what are you actually working for is, when you see yourself getting rewarded for it, if you're working for a company, you're just getting promoted onto certain levels, you're working in the right direction.
Okay, you saying that you can measure the direction with the success that you're achieving, or this with the success that you're achieving into the field that you're going in. Could that be a degree, or could that be business, or anything personal that somebody's trying to achieve? Yeah, that's an interesting point of view. So, you know, a question that it can is very different for everybody. But what does success look like for you? Like, what how would you define success?
Success for me is, I'm not sure if it's a really strange answer. Success for me is being happy. Okay, and I wouldn't necessarily um, compare success with money, or driving a nice car or living in a nice house. Success is just yourself being happy, and what you actually want to do in life, and you can do in your life. You can be, some people can be very happy with least money that they have, and some people can never be happy with the most amount of money they have in their life. So it's just entirely up to you how you see success in your life, and the scale that I find success is how happy you are in your life.
Yeah, that's a good perspective to put it out there, and I think a lot of us actually forget that when it comes down to life itself. A lot of us start chasing success as a monetary reward that we
No,
getting.
you
Could that
definitely
be?
you definitely need money in your
Yeah,
life.
of course.
There's no second thought about it. But you know, it, like I said, you can end up making loads of money. You can still end up not being happy.
Not being
So,
happy.
well, what's the point having that much money in your life? You can't be happy.
Yeah, so that balance, you would
Yeah,
say, okay, that's interesting. So another thing is, so obviously you have worked really hard for the past years since you've been here. It's been over a decade now, and
over there now. Yeah.
yeah. So and how would you feel if you had to start from zero again? How would that make you feel, and how would you start? What would be the first step that you would be taking?
I think how I see is, the moment I came here, the first thing I'd done to myself was like I humbled myself, okay, because I started from the scratch. And when you realize at this point today, when you have everything in your life, I would say, like, when you see you successful, and like, the one thing which you should never forget, like, is where you came from and how you come from. And I think if you have that mentality still in your head, and you're not really chasing material things, and let's say, God forbid, if I don't have anything in the future, if I lose everything, I would really go back, and see, I started from nothing. So once you have that thing in your mind, how you came from and how you started without nothing, from zero to hero. If you had that thing in your head, and because you've been humbled that much, that nothing bothers you really. So even if today, if God forbid anything happens, I know how it started. Alhamdulillah, I've got two hands, I've got two legs. I can talk. I've got a brain to think.
That's a really
So
positive way to
you
look at
can
life.
actually look back at yourself. Like, if you came from that way and something happened today, you can still make your way.
That's definitely a really good perspective once again. So, okay, so with this one, I just wanna ask you the last thing. What will be the last message that you wanna give to the audience that's listening? Could that be inspiring entrepreneurs, most of them, or could that be somebody who is looking to get into business, or anyone? What would be a message that you would want to leave us with?
One message would be, I would say, don't run. Stay consistent. Give it time. Okay, there are no shortcuts in life. You have to work for it, and you will learn it gradually. Um, I've seen people who just blinded. They just run after things, and they end up suffering losses in their life, and they just even forget their families and everything else. But if you're doing the right balance in your life, and if you know what you're doing, and you're not trying to find shortcuts in your life, you will get there eventually.
So stay humble and
Yeah,
never
stay
don't
humble.
forget don't
Yeah, you
forget where
don't
you
forget
come
where you
from.
come from. Stay humble.
Okay,
But
that's
that's the key of that's the key to success, basically.
yeah, and stay consistent. That's a big thing to take out from this conversation. Perfect, Mr. Adil. It was a pleasure having you with me, and
Nice
it's
to
good
have you
to
as
see you
well.
after a long time. And thank you, everybody, for listening to us. And I hope you took something from this conversation. And I'm really hopeful that this conversation would help you understand a few of the questions that you might have, or also be a better you. So, as Mr. Adil mentioned, you want to be humble, you want to be consistent, and you want to have that drive to do it. Just do it. There's nothing. There's no logic. There's no big rocket science behind it. It's just the dedication that you have in your life is what brings you to success, whatever success is for you, for example. Once again, thanks everybody for listening to us and watching this episode, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.